Okay, we're moving right along here. So this one's pretty simple. Yeah, now I know. We're going to go and edit the copy later. We're going to edit those web pages and make them fancy. We're just building your raw materials right now. So speaking of raw materials, we have essentially completed the skeletal technical stuff of Infusionsoft. Now, yeah, we need to change your emails and everything, but that's pretty simple. That's just like typing, right? So we'll do that later. Our next step with this is the integration between this and Stealth Seminar. So basically your job here is very little. You click a couple buttons in Stealth Seminar and then you answer this stuff right here. So here is your kind of main tool in dealing with Stealth Seminar. I'm going to just move this off the screen here for a minute, and then we're going to pull up Stealth Seminar. I'm going to show you how to create a webinar up in her. So we got you set up with a Stealth Seminar trial and a discount and all of that kind of stuff. Once you decide to enroll and test Stealth Seminar, this is how you log in. So you come to their login or their main screen, you press login, you enter your username and password, and here's what you see. This is lovely. There's nothing appealing about this at all. It immediately looks like this is going to be difficult. But if you think that's bad, wait until you see this. Here, once you've created a bunch of webinars, you'll see your actual webinars. So these are all automated webinar things that I've built in the past, right? So once you create them, this is what you're going to see. But you probably don't have one yet unless you've just somehow built a time machine and built one in here and then came back to this day. I think that's unlikely. So chances are you don't have one. So what you want to do is right up in her, in this little menu, click on Create New Event. An event is what you're going to, is what they call a webinar. So here's where it becomes kind of important that you pay attention, right? So I'm going to bring this, I'm going to reference this while we're using this page. So the first thing is, what's your webinar name within Stealth Seminar, right? So that's the question here. Well, let's go ahead and call your webinar something, right? And people might actually see this webinar title. So you want to name it something that's not weird. Don't ask me how I know this. So we're going to go ahead and call it something like New Launch Update. Okay, so that would be the title of your webinar. All right, now we have this pre-recorded as a live webinar. You have lots of other options here. I always use this one. Now you're going to choose your webinar content. So the way you make an automated webinar, and I walk you through how to do all of this in Ultimate Webinar Blueprint, which incidentally you have as part of your resources for this program. So I show you the technical stuff of your webinar. So essentially when you create a webinar, it's like a screen cam, like this one, and export it as a movie, right? So the way you do this is you are first going to have to add your webinar content. That simply means you're going to have to upload your webinar video from your computer onto Stealth Seminar by clicking some buttons, okay? So simply click this button. It says add webinar or add content here. So we click it, a new tab will open. We say blah, blah, blah. We ignore all this stuff. You click on browse and you choose something. And it's always going to be a video file, right? So if you're using ScreenFlow, it exports as .mp4 or .mov or whatever. It doesn't really matter, right? It's just a video. So what you want to do is you want to select the page here. I'm going to get a smaller one. This is an actual giant video. Let me find something that's little for you. This one, 43 megs, 32, 54. Okay, so this is a small little video that I'll upload. So you click on open, and now you can see it's starting to upload the video. Now, incidentally, you can actually use a live action video for a webinar. It doesn't matter what it is. Stealth Seminar is going to play it. Most people do voice over PowerPoint, which is the standard way to do it, but you can really do anything you want, right? So out of mercy, I'm going to pause this video for a minute while this thing uploads so I can show you the next step here. Once that has uploaded, you'll see this at the top of the page. See how it's got a little check mark, says your file uploads successfully, blah, blah, blah. And depending on how big the file is, this might take like 75 years. So you never know. Some cases it might take 73, so please don't be alarmed. So in the year 2087, when the file is finally uploaded, what you want to do is you want to scroll down her and look for source video file. Now you won't see anything here, likely because you won't have uploaded any videos. I think like Smart Business Intro and Smart Business Video Intro, these are default within there, but you'll see whatever your video was named. In my case, this one was called Video Invite 0.mp4, right? So what you want to do is you want to click on this, uno time-o, and then click on Generate Webinar. The last thing you can do is figure out what you want your webinar to look like. So sometimes, depending on how you recorded it, it might be widescreen or it might be regular. Most cases, it's probably going to be standard, so I just let that be. Click on Generate Webinar. Even if you put widescreen in a standard, it'll format it to look right and vice versa. So please don't lose any sleep over that. So that's all that you got to do in this tab. So if you remember, we got here by pressing that Add Content on this page. So you have two tabs open in your browser. So now we're good. Now we should be able to select the webinar name or the video name from here. So let's see here. It's not in here yet. That means it's still processing. So if you do this and you don't see your video name in here yet, it just means you have to give it a minute. Stealth Seminar has to do some stuff in the background. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to click on Save Seminar, first of all. I know we're not done, but sometimes this could make it go through a little bit faster. So I clicked on Save Seminar, and I'm just going to go back here, and I'm going to click on this webinar content, and I'm going to see if I can find them. Come on there, buddy. Are you in there anywhere yet there, buddy? They're not in there anywhere yet. Okay, well, I'll just pause the video recording, and we'll wait for it to render. Actually, you can check and see what your status is here on that page where you added the content. So it's 34% rendered. You know what I'm going to do is, I think this is fairly self-explanatory. I'm going to select any video name here. You just know that you select the name of your actual video. That way we don't have to wait forever. So I'm just going to select anything. I'll call it Whiteboard Video 1. And we're good, right? So we're in the event. Now, I'm going to go ahead and hit on Update Seminar and just show you something in case you ever get logged out by accident or whatever. Here's how to get back to where we are. You simply go into Stealth Seminar. So here's the welcome screen you always see. You click on My Events. You go to Event List. And we're going to see that webinar we just created. You can just click the title, and this is what we see. So right now we have the webinar name and we have that webinar content, and you can see it's here. All right. So here's what we got to do. First thing is, remember this form? Remember the first question says, what's your webinar name within Stealth? Event name, because they call it event name and webinar title all in the same thing. That's this, new launch update. Right? So I'm going to call it this. All right, that's pretty simple. I'll debold it for the OCD, Howard Hughes. Now, check this out. At some point during your webinar, you're going to start making your pitch, right? And when you make your pitch in Stealth Seminar, it can make the buy button appear. They call that a CTA button. It stands for Call to Action. So this question is pretty simple. It says, at what point in your webinar do you want the CTA button to appear? Well, the way you figure that out, here's the way I do it. I'll show you. I just open my webinar recording that's on my computer and I scroll through it manually until I get to the point where I start making the pitch, right? So I can see right here I'm making my pitch in this video, and it's at 1 hour and 13 minutes and 45 seconds. So what I do here is I say, okay, well, if I were using this webinar, then the answer to this question is 1 hour, 13 minutes and 45 seconds. So I'm going to put 1, 13, 45, right? So we leave that be. This is all for the Stealth Seminar dudes. Like, we're not doing anything here, but they're going to make it so that your buy button appears at this point in your webinar. Now, I can show you how to do it yourself, but who wants to do that? That's crazy. All right. Now, the next thing is when someone clicks the call to action button, what website do you want them to go to, right? So this is where you would paste in the address of your order form, whatever your order form is for the thing you're selling on your webinar. And the final question is, what do you want your call to action to say? Right? So that's pretty simple. Like, do you want it to say click here to get started? Do you want it to say add to cart? You simply write that here. Now, the reason we're doing this is because we're just going to send this document via email form thingy to Stealth Seminar, and they're going to make it all happen. So this is all the work you got to do. So far, we've uploaded a video and we've created a name and we wrote a time and we pasted a link. Pretty easy, right? So our next and final thing in this process of doing all the tech stuff for this is to do these action sets. So I'm going to turn it over to Brett, and he's going to explain to you what the action sets are and how to find them and how to do this next part.
All right, cool. So what we're going to do from inside the campaign, we actually have to jump out of the campaign to see the action sets. So we're going to go back to list here. And then under this, back to this main menu, we're going to go under the CRM section. We're going to go to Settings. And then we're going to click on Action Sets. Okay? So again, Menu, CRM Settings, Action Sets. Now, you probably won't have as many action sets in here as I have in mine. So if you do, you're just going to click on this ID link here. It's going to reverse sort them all. And I've put these action sets into your Infusionsoft account for you. So the most recent two that you'll have in here, one's going to be logged in action set, one's going to be saw offer. Okay? So what we want to do is we want to take these numbers, 936 and 938, we're just going to drop them in the corresponding section on this page. So logged in action set, this is going to be 936. And I'm not copy pasting this time because I know how exhausting that is. We're just going to type out the numbers.
Good Lord, it's like you're a marathon runner.
It's true.
Show off.
Marathons. Okay, and then the second one, CTA, same thing, saw offer, CTA 1, same thing there. So this is 938. And that's it. What that's going to do is Stealth Seminar is going to talk to Infusionsoft, and as people actually log in to watch the webinar, and as they see the offer, the call to action, whatever you want to call it, it'll actually push them through the campaign so they'll get the right content at the right time.
Pretty sneaky. It is the automated way on how you know who saw what and who did what, so we can follow up with them dynamically. So I know that was exhausting and difficult, but you're good to go. So now here's how to get all of this stuff to Stealth Seminar. Before you do, right? So let's just have a look at this thing. We got all these things answered. Before you send it to Stealth Seminar, we want to make sure that this registration page looks exactly the way you want it to. Because what's going to happen is Stealth Seminar's dudes are going to take this registration page and they're going to make it so your date that's showing up on that registration page is always going to be 4 days from the day they're actually landing on it, or however many days you want it. They're going to dynamically do that. That's going to make your emails work, and it's going to make the time work, and all that cool dynamic stuff is automatically going to be happening in your email. All this kind of stuff is stuff you don't mess with. This is tech stuff that we've created for them. They know what this means. You don't need to worry about it at all, right? And your registration page is going to show the right time and everything. But you're probably not going to want Travis's picture on there, as weird as that may be. And you're probably going to want it to talk about your stuff. So we show you how to edit your landing pages. Just the point is, don't send this to Stealth Seminar until you have made your registration page look exactly like you want it, right? So with all of that in mind, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this page. Let's say you've made it look the way you want it and everything's cool, right? We're going to take this document right here and we are going to save it, and we're going to put it somewhere on your computer, right? So hang on. This thing actually exported the whole thing to PDF just to be super fancy. So I've saved this thing on my computer. So here's all we got to do. You go to Stealth Seminar. From anywhere within Stealth Seminar, anywhere, you simply come over here, you click on right here, Request Support. Whoops, actually, sorry. You click on Event Creation Assistance. Right, so we have this, and then you follow directions. Go to Request Help, and we select on Creating Webinar Teleseminar, so it's already by default created here. You put your name here, Rick James, because that's everyone's name, and then you put the event here. Remember, on the little page, we actually wrote down the event, right? But I forgot the name. New Launch Update, right? So we're going to type in New Launch Update. All right, that's good. Subject is Webinar Setup Request. Hi, I'd like you to set up my webinar for me. This is all good. I'm going to say, please see attached file with, good Lord,
Please see attached file.
stuff you needs. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to attach that thing that I just saved, right? So we're going to say this guy is all up in her, and this is the one I saved, Stealth Seminar Worksheet. See, there it is. We click on Open. That's going to attach that file, and you hit Submit Ticket. And guess what? Guess what you do after this? Nothing. Stealth Seminar handles everything, right? So it's beautiful. So all the actual hard stuff, we just did like the hardest part ever. This is conceptually the most difficult campaign of them all, and we're pretty much done with all the stuff that sucks. So that is the good news of this campaign. That completes the Stealth Seminar setup portion of the automated webinar campaign thingy. What'll happen is once they've set it all up for you, you will get a response from their team, and they're really fast. They're the nicest people ever. And you'll get a response from their team, and they will give you your registration link, and they'll give you all the stuff, and you're good to go. It is really, really amazing. So what happens when it's all done is, I'll go ahead and show you. I'll go to event list. Let's just pretend they've now done all of this stuff, right? So let's just say, fast forward like a couple hours, they've set everything up for you. What you do is you click on this, and they will give you the pages that you need to use. For example, when we're driving people to come into the funnel and opt in, so we want people to get right here, come on, right up in here when they register, that is going to be this link right here. Now, this isn't going to be pretty in this case because they haven't actually built it for me. I'm just showing you this tutorial. So this is going to be a default page, but they'll give you a link that looks like that. That's the link that you promote, that you put on Facebook, or you use in your email, or you use for your affiliates, or whatever it may be, right? This link, they're going to give you a version of this. This is a link that's going to be placed into all of your emails, right? So your reminder emails, etc. This is the link that's going to go in there. Pretty cool, pretty simple. So the next step into tying all of this together and making it work is, of course, to edit your copy, to change what your email says, to make it relevant to your offer instead of my offer, and to change what your landing pages say, and to get your indoctrination videos up and so forth. So I will show you how to do that in other videos, but for now, congratulate yourself. You have just built out and finished all of the tech stuff that's involved in this campaign. It was pretty simple, and you did a good job. So thanks for doing it with us. This is Frank and Just Brett signing off. We'll see you in the next video.